All right, so today is drag boat day. So we're going to try and get the motor moved back. We'll see how far I get along on this, but gotta move with a few things first. So family boat first has to get moved, coming in the tent where we built the drag boat. Vegas sitting outside on the flatbed out front, so we'll get that moved too. And yeah, we'll see how things go. So here's the boat, got it out, got it in the tent. So this is kind of where I work on this thing, is in this tent we got. So last time we figured out that the fuel tech, so this has individual coils, or it did, right there. So fuel tech was controlling the ignition, not fuel, obviously, because it's carbureted. The thing wouldn't run, and this is the issue that we had with the Ford. This is the issue that we've been having all along, is it would get to like 6,000 RPM and it would just fall over, and we couldn't figure out why. And we went through everything, and that's actually why we put the Chevrolet in it, thinking there was something wrong with the Ford, thinking it was hurt or something. And got to the point where we tried everything, and we just said, screw it, let's put an MSD on it. So we at the racetrack, we put an MSD and a distributor in it, and lo and behold, the thing came out of the hole and hauled ass. So back-to-back passes with the fuel tech, it ran about 87, I think, miles an hour, something like that. And then when we came out with the MSD, it ran 96, almost 97 miles an hour. So we made really good progress with that, but that was the last pass of the weekend, so we couldn't do anything more after that. But that proved that we were on the right track. It was the ignition. So we are gonna go back to the fuel tech, and since then I called fuel tech and asked them what the deal is, why this thing won't run. I used their dwell table that they give you when you start the fuel tech up, and I even upped the dwell a little bit, because after reading about it, it says, you know, you don't want to go too high on the dwell because it could burn the coils out, right? So I didn't want to go too high, just not really knowing any better. I talked to a few people, and most people didn't have any experience with the smart coils, which is what we're running. And so after talking to fuel tech, turns out my dwell table was about half of what it should have been, my dwell times. So that means in the world of inductors and coils and Chevrolet, makes sense. So, but the thing we're gonna do today is we're actually gonna move the motor back. So we're hoping that we can move this all back one hole width, you know, one hole pattern. And then we're gonna have to remove the pump brace like this. We're gonna have to go to a suction mounted pump brace, which is fine. We make one of those too. But remove it back that 9 inches and see if that helps the boat get the nose up. The other thing we got to do too is relocate some of this stuff. So the coil's probably okay. I'll take it off just for, you know, one, we can remount it better because it's zip tied at the moment. But two, just get out of the way, and then we'll probably end up remounting this stuff somewhere else. I don't know, have to see. May just flop this on the outside over here and then do something different with these guys. I don't know. Have to see once I get it kind of in place. We're gonna focus on the engine first. So I'll get those things out so they're out of the way, and then I will pick the engine up and slide it back and see kind of where it all lays out, and hopefully we don't have to do a whole lot of crazy nonsense to get it moved. So okay, so long day. I'm wiped out. I didn't get to time lapse the whole thing because the camera got too hot, but motor is moved back. H-bar is in place. Angle's little on the extreme side, but we're gonna give it a shot. Nothing binds up, it spins free, so we're gonna give it a shot. Had to lift the front of the engine up about 1.5 inches to make the angles and everything work. But it is sitting in place where it's approximately supposed to be. Just got to do the final kind of tweaking it, squaring it up. It is more or less off the hoist, so pretty good to go. Gonna have to figure out what to do over here with all the data logger stuff. We may be able to just more or less put it back where it was and modify some brackets and things like that, so we'll see. And then I got to drill the last hole on each side because we moved it back one hole pattern. But looks like we're in pretty good shape. So a whole bunch more room now here, which is kind of nice actually, because this was really crowded before. So I'm really hoping this engine location works, because I like having all that space there for just being able to work on the thing. It was really tight to get in there and work on it. But yeah, so
did it toast the impeller?
what's that?
Did it toast the impeller?
I don't think so.
It looked like it did.
I don't think so. It was pulling pretty good still.
It sounded like it unloaded a couple of times.
Yeah, it caught air a couple times. It's rougher than shit out there.
Is it?
Yeah, but
Boy, it sounded like it was screaming.
6,700.
That's it?
That's what it was turning. It was 67. But when I came out of the hole off the two-step, it turned 81 and then came down and then caught air, and I pedaled it a couple times.
Yeah, I heard that.
We're
Did
gonna
it
have
catch air because it bounced or because of the water?
bounced.
Yeah, you're gonna have to roll through that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to roll through it. I can do that. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna have to drive it, I guess.
Don't pull me in.
We need to get ready to take that ball off and make sure it didn't rip that impeller apart.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see, but there's a chain hoist spreader bar sitting on top of the engine, and we are getting ready to pull the engine out. And I got the gas tank out already, seats coming out, pull the fuel tech and the steering wheel off, because we're getting ready to flip the boat over. I don't know if it'll happen. It probably won't happen today, but in a day or two we're going to get it flipped over and do some work on the bottom, and then we'll flip it back over, put the engine and stuff back in it. So I've been looking at the data from yesterday. We went testing in the drag boat yesterday. So we moved the motor back a whole bunch. The issue we were having, and why we did that, is the bow wasn't coming up. And we thought it might be weight balance, and that was one of the easiest things to change, quite frankly, is the weight balance. So we moved the motor back a total of 9 inches, which is a country mile. And went from like, I don't know, 18-inch drive shaft down to the standard H bar. Went out yesterday, and the boat definitely bows up more on the hit, but it didn't lift the nose at all going down track. Quite the opposite, actually. It tends to try to suck the nose down the faster you go. So given that we made such a huge weight balance change and it didn't have the effect that we were thinking it should with lifting the nose up, we have decided to make a bottom change. One of the things about this boat that's different than pretty much any other, well, there's a lot of things that make this boat different, but one of the things that's different than most Southwind tunnel dragsters is we added some what I'll call sponson risers, training wheels, something like that, whatever you want to call them, on the bottom of the sponsons. And that keel shape and keel line relative to the center keel and the height and everything else like that makes a difference as to how the boat rides. And the current theory is two things. One, this thing has basically straight tunnels, so it really doesn't pack air. It's just reducing wetted surface. So with it not packing air, it's not lifting the boat up. We're not generating a tremendous amount of lift from the tunnels themselves because they don't create a ton of pressure. So that's one thing. Two is, and that's normal, we expected that. Two is the sponson risers, or air entrapment, or whatever you want to call it. We think those are causing the bow to push forward, push down, because the bow comes up hard at the hit, which tells us that The geometry is allowing the bow to come up, like the weight balance and the nozzle angle and all that's allowing the bow to come up, but the hull shape is not, because as soon as it noses over, and gets rolling and gets any kind of speed, it shoves the bow down.
Here he comes.
That looked much better.
Right through Jim's body.
Which is, I mean, to be expected.
Yeah, but it slowed it down.
If anything, it slowed it down. It didn't. I didn't hold it quite as long this time.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can tell you here. Let me set the 0 time. No, and I rolled into it, and as soon as I stabbed it, it sucked the nose down to the water.
Well, try putting that long grip on it.
The full droop.
Yeah.
Let me see how long I held it. So I held it for about 8 seconds this time. Last time I held it for about 10, if I recall. So I held it for a couple less seconds, but so it may have
Come down or off.
let me look. So last time was about 7,100, 7,000, 7,100. It started when I first hit it. It started at little over 7,050, and then by the end when I lifted, it was about 6,900. Sitting here in PinBall Wizard, going over the data. Just made a test pass down at the lake. So we made a couple changes. We did, let's see, went from a full droop to an HTP straight snoot, which moved the wedges stayed the same, but moved the nozzle angle from 7 up to 4.5 up. Ride plate angle stayed the same, about 4.5, and went back to the HTP billet race nozzle. I have an elliptical insert in it right now, 3 and an 8, 3120. But man, we've been going back and forth on this boat. So the biggest change that I made was I moved the engine. So the engine is now where it was when we first started, which is basically up against the back seat. It's like 25 inches from the transom, and that was the big change, and that's what we wanted to test from last time to this time. I made the other changes because I wanted the droop snoot was hanging below. I wanted to get it up above the plate, things like that. I also added the 100,000th shoe to it too, because we were running out of water still. But we hit 101.1 miles an hour on my phone GPS. Of course, I get out there, so I got a draggy sitting on the dash. Of course, I get all the way out there, and the damn draggy decides to disconnect and will not reconnect. So I use my phone, cell service GPS kind of deal, and from my experience, it lags 1 or 2 miles an hour depending on how fast you're accelerating, but give or take. So, but in any case, it said 101 miles an hour. That is 8 miles an hour faster than anything else we have seen. That is a significant increase. That is a significant gain. According to the data logger, I held the throttle for 11 seconds, which is consistent with about the 1,000-foot course at about 7 or 8 second ET, give or take. Which it feels like it's about 3 seconds from the rope to the start is what it would be based on the launch. So leaving on a 7 and going through the lights somewhere in the 7s. I would say probably a 760 to a 790 if I had to make a guess, which is very good compared to where we were. So we're headed the right direction, and that lines up with what the draggy data showed last time, based upon because it gives you an ET slip. It showed consistent numbers that were consistent with that. So very happy, very excited. Data looks good. Turned 7,100 RPM at the end before I hit the valve.
Still a little lighter on water. It looks like the water starts getting kind of choppy toward the end, so we're going to add some more water to it and make another test pass. We're going to go back to the Ford because we've now confirmed a couple of things. And one other change that I made is so with the Fuel Tech, you can control the MSD box with the Fuel Tech. You do this with the points wire. So the MSD box has their white points wire, and that you use that as an input, and you set an output from the Fuel Tech as the ignition, and you bring that output to the MSD box. Then you take the crank trigger through the Fuel Tech. So now the Fuel Tech reads the crank signal and then sends the signal to fire to the MSD box. So that kind of simulates the Fuel Tech working. That gives me all of the Fuel Tech's functionality with the drag race features, nitrous control, pop-off control, all the stuff that I've been wanting to have. Because what we were doing before is we were piggybacking it. I had two crank pickups. One was for the Fuel Tech, one was for the MSD. So now I have the Fuel Tech controlling the MSD. So now we know the Fuel Tech's fine. It was just the spark, which we thought. The thing sounds different with the Fuel Tech controlling it, interestingly enough. I don't know why, but it does. It sounds very good. Very happy with the way the motor sounded and performed. And the thing reflected it by hauling ass. So long story short, next thing is we're going to add some more water to it. And I think we're going to pull the motor out and put the Ford back in it. Make sure it's tuned up and happy and good. In preparation to run, I think we're going to run NJBA in March. We're going to run the IHRA NJBA combination race in April. And then depending on sponsor funding and some other stuff that we're working on, we may do some other races out of town, out of state, I should say. But the Lake Ming races, or a Phoenix race, those would be kind of on our radar for next season for sure. So we'll just have to see how the season goes and how the funding situation goes. But all in all, very happy. This thing is performing like it's supposed to. So now we're headed in the right direction, and we're on the road to top eliminator. That's the goal, is top eliminator. So keep you guys updated, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Hey guys, if you like that video, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, make sure to select the little bell icon. That'll notify you whenever we release a new video. If you like this content, please keep coming back. We'd like to have you. And if you've got ideas for new videos you'd like to see, please send us a message or an email or comment on one of our videos. Thanks.